already at you. Join करें. अपना अटेंडेंस लिखा हो ना, आप लोग फॉरवर्ड कर देंगे मेल रे फॉरवर्ड है ना तार में फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हो वो फॉरवर्ड कर रजिस्टर करते हैं गेट करो हेलो।
Kripa sir, can you listen me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, should we start or should we wait for next few minutes?
Hi. So we'll start right now.
Your registrar साहब have joined. कृपा सिंधु रजिस्ट्रार साहब ने ज्वाइन कर लिया है क्या?
नहीं, हाँ, सब ज्वाइन कर लिए हैं। हम रजिस्टर सर भी ज्वाइन कर लिए हैं।
हाँ, लेकिन उनका नाम दिखा नहीं रहा है यहाँ पैनलिस्ट लिस्ट में। हाँ, विष्णु सर नमस्कार। सर जस्ट 2 मिनट थोड़ा सा देख करके फिर स्टार्ट करते हैं, जस्ट विद इन 2 मिनट्स।
सर आपण देखिए।
कृपा सिंधु जी, अगर आपके रजिस्ट्रार साहब ने ज्वाइन कर लिया तो आप काइंडली बताइए, स्टार्ट करते हैं प्रोग्राम।
ज्वाइन कर लिया राका जी।
ओके, ठीक है, लेकिन उनका नाम नहीं दिखा रहा है। कहाँ से ज्वाइन किया उन्होंने? अटेंडेंस लिस्ट में तो नहीं है।
प्रशांत राउतराय लिखा है, बोल रहा है सर।
हाँ, तो उनको ले लो पैनलिस्ट में। रंजन, प्रशांत
PRASNT प्रशांत के नाम से तो नहीं आ रहा है।
डॉक्टर PK राउतराय और प्रशांत कुमार राउतराय।
क्या नाम है सर, एक बार बताएंगे?
डॉक्टर PK राउतराय।
एक मिनट, डॉक्टर PK
राउतराय।
नहीं आ रहा है
सर आपनकर ना आछे बोले तो प्रशांत राउतराय आ रहा है रंजन जी। हाँ, डॉक्टर कुमार राका। हेलो हेलो। हेलो।
सिमिलरली कृपा सिंधु वीसी साहब ने ज्वाइन कर लिया है क्या? फॉर्मर वीसी आपके।
हाँ, VC सर भी ज्वाइन कर लिया है।
रंजन जी, उनको देखिए, उनको भी पैनलिस्ट लिस्ट में लेके आइए। हरे कृष्णा जी ने।
सर हाँ, ऑडिबल है सर। PK राउतराय सर भी ज्वाइन कर लिया, रजिस्टर सर भी ज्वाइन कर लिया है।
हाँ, उनको तो हम लेके आ गए हैं पैनलिस्ट में।
ओके। प्रशांत राउतराय लिखा हुआ है।
हाँ, प्रशांत राउतराय लिखा हुआ है, वो अभी पैनलिस्ट में आ चुके हैं। इससे वीसी
हाँ
साहब को लेके आना, इसके बाद स्टार्ट करते हैं।
सर आसीगले, आपण आसीगले।
कृपा सिंधु किस नाम से वीसी साहब ने ज्वाइन किया है? हेलो,
@kiss.sc.in
फिर से बोलो।
VC
वीसी
VC@kiss.sc.in।
नाम कुछ आ रहा होगा, उनको बोलो कि नाम क्या दिखा रहा है वो बताएं। मेल आईडी यहाँ पे नहीं लेता, नाम नाम देना पड़ेगा।
Am I audible?
Yes, who is speaking?
Yeah, Prashant Rao, Register KISS University.
Thank you, sir. You have been already included in the list of panelists, but I am searching for VC, sir. Can you tell me by what name he has logged in?
So I have sent one IT person. I will give you within 1 second about which name they have logged.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we'll back at hand.
इसको तो अब चला जाएगा।
ଆପଣଙ୍କର କଳିଙ୍ଗ ଟିଭି କଣ ସେମାନେ ଆମକୁ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ସେଟା କରି
अगर आप मुझे नाम बताइए तो मैं उनको इंक्लूड कर सकता हूँ पैनलिस्ट में, सर। आई एम वेटिंग फॉर दैट। हम लोग इंतजार कर रहे हैं वीसी सर का सिर्फ पैनलिस्ट के लिस्ट में लाने के लिए। किस नाम से उन्होंने ज्वाइन किया ये समझ में आया तो फिर इंक्लूड हो सकता है, because we are getting delayed for the program. It's already 10 minutes delayed.
He or she had joined, definitely he or she would have responded. Will not start without waiting for people.
So what will start? What will do? Start the program. Let him join. That will better instead of killing the time, because you know the time is.
That is, yeah, that's perfectly all right.
Yeah. So should we start?
Okay, let's start the program, and meanwhile, former VC Saab will join us.
Yeah.
So, on our next webinar talks, that is, the topic is disaster risk management in India, issues and challenges. National Institute of Disaster Management is organizing this program in association with Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, Odisha. And formally, let me thank first of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal, Executive Director of the National Institute of Disaster Management, who has been a constant guidance and support for us. And also, I would like to thank Professor Hare Krishna Sampatiji, the former Vice Chancellor of Deemed University. And along with that, we are having today three most eminent. Ranjanji, can you mute? रंजन जी थोड़ा डिस्टर्बेंस पे ध्यान रखिए, म्यूटिंग करते जाइए जहां से डिस्टर्बेंस आ रहा हो. And today, I was telling that today we are having two very eminent speakers on our platform. The first number is Sri Vishnu Pada Sethi sir, who has been former CEO of Disaster Management Odisha, and the Principal Secretary, Revenue and Disaster Management Department in Government of Odisha. And the second eminent speaker is Professor Santosh Kumar, who is the professor, very senior professor and head of the GIDRR, Government Inclusive Disaster Risk Reduction Center, and CCDRR Center, Child Centered Disaster Risk Reduction Center of NIDM. And along with that, I would also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. P.K. Rautri, who is registrar at the East Deemed University. And the co-coordinators of this program, today's program, co-coordinators, Dr. Kripa Sindhu Nayak, Assistant Professor of Sociology in Department of Sociology, actually, KIST Deemed University, and Sri Ranjan Kumar, who is the program associate, project associate in Child Centered Disaster Risk Reduction Center at NIDM. And along with that, I would also like to thank all the participants, our wonderful participants here who have been joined us in this wonderful, in this very important talk today. And all of you know that disaster risk management is now nothing new, but issues and challenges remain same. And one of the important component, and we are very delighted to have Odisha state officials and Vishnu Pada Sethi sir. Since Odisha has been always at the forefront of disaster risk management, and before establishment of the National Disaster Management Authority, Odisha was the one state who has gone beyond the first steps taken towards establishment of this structural system within the country is the state of Odisha. And like all of you know that Odisha is facing one or the another disaster after few years, and once at least in a decade, a major disaster, and even after that they are coming back to the life, building back better, and again normalizing their situation and lifestyle. And that has given us somewhere the actual example of resilient society, of resilient community. And we would like to know a lot about that, sir, in the coming session. These talks from you about the country, the issues and challenges of disaster risk management right now we are facing, since it's a lot of time that in year 2005, Disaster Management Act was passed by both the Houses of Parliament, and after that in 2009, Disaster Management Policy was envisaged, and that tells us to move towards a erstwhile relief-centric approach to a proactive approach of disaster management. And where we stand at this moment, this COVID-19 pandemic, and along with that a few cyclones we have faced in the recent past, that has given us the platform and opportunity, and I can say that the need of the hour is actually to see what are actual challenges we are facing, what are the actual issues we are facing right now in the disaster risk management in the entire country and specifically in Odisha in particular. So, along with that, now I would like to invite Sri P.K. Rautri, who is Registrar of Case Deemed University, to give us give the formal welcome address to participants and speakers. That we will go ahead with the inaugural address or keynote address of a former Vice Chairman of the university. And after that, I would again request P.K. Rautri sir to introduce Sri Vishnupada Sethi sir. And after that, we will call him for his speech. So, P.K. Rautri sir, you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kumar, for giving an introductory speech about the purpose of organizing this type of webinar in an institute like KSS. So once again, I welcome to all the respected speakers in the webinar on disaster risk management in India, issues and challenges. We are really feel proud to organize this type of webinar with the support of National Institute of Disaster Management. For the kind information of honorable speakers and the participants, KISS and KISS University is providing free education to downtown people of the society, therefore remote travel areas, with 30,000 students starting from standard 1 to post-graduation level. And we have also got a university status. KISS itself is a university that is exclusive for tribal children. And very interestingly, the innovative subject we have introduced in the KISS University, that is really very, this is really very important in the sense, what for we have got the university status. That is one point of our activities. Second is in the context of disaster risk management in India, issues and concerns, challenges. If you see, not only we are providing the free education to the downtown students or children of the society, also we are providing some life skill education. And that life skill is relating to the problem solving skill, crisis management skills. And these are the very important in the context of whenever they will find a problem like any unforeseen disaster, how they will address to this. That sort of theoretical and practical information we are sharing in our KISS University. And another thing is we have a national service scheme, that is NSS. We have 700 volunteers, NSS volunteers, who are involved directly and indirectly in all accident hazards, all unforeseen disaster issues. And burning example is, I would like to say, the way we are doing COVID-19 pandemic, addressing all the people, those who are from remote travel areas. We are organizing different awareness activities through our students, through peer educators, by sensitizing the women and the parents of those children, those who are getting free education here. Besides, also, we are just sensitizing their role, responsibility, what sort of role they have to take during pandemic situation. So everything is in a very organized and systematic way because of our honorable founder, Dr. Achyut Samant, who is not only a change agent for the society, also is more concerned about how we will address during this COVID-19 particular pandemic situation. So we are really fortunate to organize this type of workshop in a institute like KS Deemed University. And will not take much of a time, but only thing I would like to say, we have got a platform and students are all sensitized what exactly they have to do during this type of situation like the pandemic situation. So we are fortunate. We have with us Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal. He is from National Institute of Disaster Management. Will enlighten us what sort of activities we are supposed to do during this type of pandemic situation and also during the disaster risk management issues. And we have also with us in our webinar Sriji Vishnupata Sethi IS, is the Principal Secretary. So needless to mention, because he did a lot of work during the relief and rehabilitation activities in relation to the flood, relation to cyclone and so many things. So he is really the change agent. He has also shown the entire Odisha, if we see this type of disaster, how will address these issues and what sort of challenge will overcome those challenges. So he will also share his experience. Also, he will guide us how to carry forward these activities in henceforth. And also, we are fortunate we have with us Professor Santosh Kumar, the head of GIRR and the CCDRR from National Institute of Disaster Management. He will also speak something about the challenges and the issues relating to the disaster. And also, we have also another person who is really trying his level best to organize this type of workshop in the support of Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences deemed to be university. Is Dr. Kumar Raka. Because every time, every moment, he is trying how to translate and transact all these issues and which will be populated what exactly we are talking of in most inaccessible areas, what exactly KISS University is doing since last 30 years. Thank you, sir, for giving us a scope to organize this type of workshop. Besides, we have our own coordinator, Dr. Kopasindhu Nayak, and so many colleagues. They are also started working on this, how to transact this type of webinar in a university like KISS. We have our own former Vice Chancellor and Advisor, KISS University, Professor Krishna Satpathy. He has some ideas about risk management and how to overcome this. So once again, I welcome all these honorable speakers to this webinar and hope at the end of the discussion, the participants and other staff members, those who are working a lot of work since last 10 months, starting from the March 21st till date, they will get some substantial information how to carry forward, how to address the challenges and issues, and this will give a very meaningful. So thank you once again for giving me opportunity to give this type of welcome address. Thank you all. Over to Dr. Kumar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. P.K. Rao, Registrar at KISS University. Now I would like you to just introduce your former Vice Chancellors, Professor Hare Krishna Satpathy for the keynote address, please. Since Manoj Kumar Bindal is having some important meeting with the ministry, so he is not available with us right now. So we will go ahead with the program, and I would request Professor Hare Krishna Satpathy after your introduction to give the introductory keynote address for this program. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Yes. Let me introduce Professor Hare Krishna Satpathy, who was the first Vice Chancellor of KISS deemed to be University. Is an academician. He was the former Vice Chancellor of Tirupati University for 2 terms, and he was also Vice Chancellor for Jagannath University in Odisha. That is one of his experience. Another thing is, he's very people-loving person who always give more importance to what exactly we people are working for. He is one of the mentor, I would like to say. The way the university was started with his leadership as a Vice Chancellor of KISS deemed to be University. Now, most of these things are streamlined. This was type of activities he has involved, and the way he's interacting with the staff colleague. Also, he's a public figure. Though he has not any background with this type of activity like disaster risk management, but he has a wide experience on how to address these disaster issues by making relationship, making public to the common platform so that we can work together, we can see the future. So this is not still about Professor Hare Krishna Satpathy. He was our Vice Chancellor now. He's the advisor. He's the former Vice Chancellor of his dream to university. And now I request our advisor, former Vice Chancellor, to address in this webinar. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant Kumar Rautrai, the esteemed Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences. Thank you, Dr. Kumar Raka, the Program Officer, Child-Centric Disaster Reduction Risk, and we have stalwarts with us who are expected to enlighten us regarding this disaster management in India. Dr. Professor Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal, Executive Director, National Institute of Disaster Management. Of course, he will be joining after some time. And we are having our keynote speakers, Professor Santosh Kumar and Dr. Vishnupada Sethi, a senior member of the Indian Administrative Service. Presently, he is Principal Secretary, Revenue and Disaster Management Department, Government of Odisha. Professor Dr. Sri Sethi is, I should say, a creativity personified. He has got innovative ideas, not only in managing the disasters, natural disasters of the state or of the country, but I know when he was the Principal Secretary of Higher Education, he brought a lot of reforms, and he used the entire strength of higher education institutes, universities of the state, to see that these natural disasters like this flood or cyclone or drought or any sort of unprecedented pandemics are prevented and secured. As you know, so far as this country is concerned, we are having 1,000 universities. That is our strength. The strength of this country lies with the young and energetic students of our country. That is 1,000 universities. We are having 40 725 standalone institutes, and so far as the students' strength, which constitutes the national force, the real energy of our country, that is 3 crore 74 lakhs, and and so far as Odisha is concerned, we have got a sizable contribution to this course of the nation, and Sri Vishnupada Sethi, while working as the Principal Secretary of Higher Education, utilized the student strength for prevention and for management of the disasters in our state, and we are scholar with us who is coordinating the program, Dr. Kumar Raka. And at the same time, this seminar under the title of Disaster Risk Management in India, Issues and Challenges, the coordinator, the main coordinator, Dr. Ishwar Chandra Nayak, and our co-coordinator, Dr. Kupa Sindhu Nayak. We are grateful to Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, for collaborating with our university, which is deemed to be university, for organizing this national seminar, and the purpose of the national seminar, as explained by Dr. Prashant Kumar Rautrai in his introductory address, is to enhance country level capacity with an intention to prevent and reduce as well as to manage the natural disasters. Friends, we have experienced a number of disasters in our country, and recently in Odisha also we have experienced the super cyclones, very severe super cyclones, floods, and now, as mentioned by Dr. Rautrai, it is pandemic, COVID-19. It is an unprecedented natural disaster. I started my job as a teacher in Ravenshaw University way back in 1978. And the day I joined the college as a lecturer, my principal wanted me to become the program officer of National Service Scheme, and then I was associated with the NCC. I was associated with so many voluntary organizations. Yes, I don't have anything to say that I have got expertise or experience in managing or handling the disasters in the country, but to some extent I have got experience as the program officer, because during that time when we had some floods, we had some cyclones, yes, the NSS units of the colleges and the universities were being utilized by the government of Odisha, the district collectors, and the principals of the colleges, vice chancellors, is to reach out the persons affected by the cyclone or our what you call this natural disaster, and at the same time say we are asked to help them. So as program officer, we have got certain experiences regarding prevention, mitigation and management of disasters. Friends, we have an act passed by the parliament for prevention, mitigation and management of disasters, and we have got a very good effective national policy, of which our revered Principal Secretary Revenue and Disaster Management will throw adequate light. And at this same time, we have got different organizations. So that National Institute of Natural Disaster Management in Odisha also, we have got parallel organizations, and it has been proved to beyond doubt that all these organizations have done excellent work, wonderful work during the periods of disasters like earthquakes, droughts, floods, cyclones, and particularly this unprecedented disaster, whether it is a natural disaster or an artificial disaster, we don't know, this pandemic period. But yes, those organizations have got a specific role, and they have been performed their responsibilities, duties in respect of prevention and management and mitigation of the disasters. But as a teacher of 45 years of experience, and as a team leader of NSS, NCC and various voluntary organizations of the colleges, I should say that the students of this country, the number which I mentioned, nearly 3.74 crores, they have got a specific role in respect of preventing or mitigating or managing or handling these natural disasters. And Dr. Rautrai was mentioning short while ago that how the students of KIS, Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, which has been established by none other than an eminent educationist and a renowned social activist, Professor Dr. Achyuta Samanta, with an intention to provide free education to the tribal students of the country, those who are under the below poverty, those who are the below poverty line. And as you know, our students, particularly those who excel in various fields, and those particularly in sports, and those who have got self-confidence. Yes, Professor Dr. Bindal, who has got experience, the Executive Director, Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal, I should say he is a self-confidence and mental strength personified. And our Vishnupada Sethi is a creativity and innovation personified or symbolized. So our students, they are endowed with some potential strength, and which give them a courage to face the natural disasters, to face, they are acquainted in working in disastrous situations. And recently, during this COVID-19 pandemic, we have utilized their services. Even the district, they are from different districts of our state, and they are now engaged in giving a sort of mental strength to the persons, those who are being affected, those who are affected by this pandemic COVID-19. And most of the students, they are going to different villages, and after maintaining the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs and the government of Odisha, they are observing those guidelines like social distancing, hand washing, sanitization. They are teaching the students. They are keeping the moral strength of the students high. So that is what we are doing. And this, not only this institution, if all the institutions, say 1,000 universities of the country and 40,000 colleges and 10,000 or 11,000 standalone institutions of the country, if they join their hands together, then this nearly 4 crore student strength will be an asset for the Government of India, for the Home Department, Ministry of the Government of India, to face the natural challenges. Friends, these disasters mainly are due to this natural imbalance. Our students can work in various fields. First of all, an awareness is necessary. An awareness is needed to be generated among the people of the country to preserve and to worship the nature. Professor Dr. Dr. Prashant Kumar Rautrai was referring to the course structure and curriculum of our university. For the kind information of all concerned, those who join this webinar, they will be happy to learn that we have developed a course on eco-spiritualism, and that eco-spiritualism curriculum teaches us how to show our respect to the mother nature. Unless and until we understand the significance, the characteristics of nature, and we develop a respect towards nature, yes, it is very difficult to control the fury of the nature. Whether it is an earthquake, or it is a drought, or it is flood or cyclone. Yes, we must say that when the natural resources, the elements of the nature, there are 8 elements of nature: Bhumi, Rapo, Anada, Vayu, Khang, Mana, Buddhi, Revacha, Hankarang, Iriyam, Bhinna, Prakriti, Rashtada. There are 8 elements. So there are 5 gross elements: Chitti, Ap, Teja, Marut, Vyama. We have to show respect. That is eco-spiritualism. Respect for nature, respect for natural resources. If those natural resources or nature gets balanced, if there is no disharmony in nature, then I think we can control or prevent these natural disasters. And once and awareness is to be created, and if there is any warning for any cyclone, and the district administration is engaged for evacuation of the people to the safer areas, our students can come forward and they can also extend their cooperation and help to the district administration, to the Chief Relief Commissioner of the concerned state. Let me just put it with all humility at my disposal that these higher education institutions, including the NITs, IITs, and the universities, having 4 crore students, can be trained, and for that purpose, in collaboration with the IGNOU, say this Indira Gandhi Institute of this Open University, we have developed some certificate courses, we have developed some diploma courses for our students, and we are training them, and those courses can be utilized by the Home Department, by the Government of India, and they are being utilized as the students of our university are being utilized. So I think the higher education institutes of the country have got a very specific role and responsibility in respect of prevention, mitigation, handling, and management of various types of disasters, whether it is flood, cyclone, or even unprecedented disaster like natural, like this pandemic 19. For that purpose, NSS units, which is controlled by the Government of India, NCC, rovers and rangers, and different voluntary organizations, we create here volunteers, because the main purpose of education is not only to teach the students regarding the curriculum, it is also our responsibility to enhance their extracurricular activities and extension activities. Each higher educational institution is assigned with 3 responsibilities. One is the teaching, the other one is research, and the third one is the extension activities. And we'll be very, very happy if our student strength is utilized for overcoming the challenges and issues we are facing in respect of this natural disaster. With these words, once again, I express my profound sense of gratitude to the Ministry of Home Affairs and to the Government of Odisha. They have been encouraging us, encouraging this institute, and we are also grateful to our founder, Dr. Samanta, who is always concerned regarding the extension activities of our university, and we are also training them in such a manner that they are ready to face any challenge. And we have proved that during this pandemic period, apart from taking online classes, yes, we are also utilizing our students' course for overcoming this troublesome situation during this pandemic period. And yes, we have developed a mechanism to convert this crisis into confidence, this challenge into an opportunity. And KISS has become a glaring example in the entire world. So once again, thank you, Dr. Raka, for opportunity to share some of my feelings and to assure you that our institution in particular, and you can utilize the entire student strength of 4 crore for mitigating or preventing or managing even some post relief and rehabilitation programs. Our student force can come to our rescue. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna Satpathy sir, and thanks a lot for this wonderful speech. In your speech, it was evident that why we actually say Odisha a resilient society, and in your speech, the resiliency was very, very much evident. And along with that, like the points you told that if the billions of the students of this country join hands with the disaster management, disaster risk management really we will be looking forward a real achievement in the paradigm shift in the disaster management. And along with that, not taking a lot of time to reflect upon right now, at the end of the session, we may go ahead for that, sir. Like you told that students are important and academia and university, and accordingly, National Institute of Disaster Management is developing a network of universities on which Professor Santosh Kumar will throw much light in his address. That will be very, very important if the KISS University, KISS deemed University, Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, would like to join our network of universities. We invite our, we may invite also, and that is most welcoming, I think so. Professor Santosh will say in his speech. And before that, let me now, I'm not going to introduce Sri Vishnupada Sethi sir, but I know he is not only a man of wisdom and leadership, he has been really a stalwart in the shaping of the recent system in the disaster management, specifically in the state of Odisha. And a few very, very important initiatives has been taken during his regime also, which has been actually path-breaking initiatives for the entire country. And if I remember, sir, actually Sarthak is one such initiative which has been taken during your period in Odisha. And that is something unimaginable collaboration or innovation of technology and how it has to reach at the grassroots level. And this is the one example. And Vishnupada Sethi sir has been pioneer in many more senses. And I would request Prashant Rautri sir to introduce Vishnupada Sethi sir before we invite him for his speech. Sir, unmute yourself first. Yeah.
Kumarji, you have already spoken so many things about our Honorable Principal Secretary Sir, Vishnupada Sethi Sir. So yes, he's a real icon. One example is Odisha Disaster Mitigation Authority. The way he has streamlined the entire system. Whoever will come, they will follow the same path. So needless to say more on this, now you request Honorable Principal Secretary CG Vishnupada Sethi ISR to say about his experience and guidance how to carry out these activities. Sir, please. Over to
Am I audible?
Sethi sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Ranjanji, please transfer the presenter's role to Vishnupati Sethi, sir, and you also share his presentation, please.
Yeah, Dr. Raka, I am audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You may go ahead, please.
Thank you, Professor Harikrishna Satpathy, Prashant Rautrai, Dr. Kumar, and the panel of distinguished speakers. And I'm very happy that there are a large number of attendees, about 280 who are participating in this webinar. It's really a nice sign. And the issues being discussed is disaster management issues and challenges for India. It's quite an interesting subject. And I must thank National Institute of Disaster Management as well as KISS deemed to be university for this initiative to arrange this webinar. And I'm very happy to participate in this. The issue and challenges for DRR is not a static subject. It is an evolving subject, and it keeps on, changing with time. As we have new technologies, the newer issues come, and there are new methodology as which how we deal with the problems also appear before us. Similarly, another great thing that has happened during our time is the evolution of democracy. More democracy flourishes, you would have that our value system become more humanistic, and we really take care of the people, unlike in the past. So with the change in technologies, with the availability of more scientific gadgets, the evolution of democracy, acceptance of human values, the issues and challenges also would keep on evolving, and they will be guiding us in our action, and disaster management would accordingly be guided. So I would just like to give an introduction before I give a presentation. Why the context is relevant is that that in the pre-independence India there used to be very recurrent kind of drought and famine, and it is said that during the British period 60 million people they died because of hunger. Go hungry and you die without food, remaining hungry for several days. So such kind of a situation is unheard or can never be imagined in the current time. For example, in 1770, the 10 million people died in the Bengal province, which was the number of people who died were 1/3 of the entire population. In 1866, we had famine in Nankadurvika that we call in our own language, and about 3 to 4 million people died over a period of 3 years. In 1943, just before the independence, about 3 to 4 million people died of hunger. It's because of failure of crop, and we being so much dependent on a rent-fed agriculture. So that was about 1/3 of the population of the area, and imagine so many people died, and the protest people thought it is the fate that has made them to suffer and die like that. And even after independence, the drought, the famine, they continued till the advent of green revolution. We had a lot of food. The government invested in agriculture. The scourge of the famine also got reduced. So there was scientific invention, and there are new things that which influenced our life. But fortunately, what we saw in 1999 that we faced a super cyclone in Odisha. The 99 super cyclone was a game changer. Why? Because the way that we look at DRR or disaster management in India, it basically started with the event in 1999. And this super cyclone that struck Odisha on 29th October was probably the greatest cyclone of the last century in Odisha. And the cyclone centered over coastal area for 3 days with a torrential downpour and a tidal surge of 6 meters that swept the coastal low-lying areas, and that went inwards to a distance of 40 to 50 kilometers. And the last recorded wind speed was 260 kilometers per hour. But the highest speed could never, because the anemometer at Paradip it broke. The violent wind speed was accompanied by incessant rainfall, and that was over a period of 3 days, ranging from 45 centimeter to 95 centimeter. There was deluge, and the storm surged through the creeks, river mouths, and low-lying areas, sweeping many villages, and the tidal the areas were really in a very bad shape. Cyclone affected about 2 crore people in 14 districts, and two major cities, that is Bhubaneswar and Cuttack. So they were very much devastated. And as Professor Satpathy was recounting, the number of people who died were about 10,000. It's such a huge number of people that they died. There were loss of 4.5 lakh livestock, and the crop damages were an area of 18 lakh hectares. And what we left with in the aftermath was to look at the wrath and trail of devastation that had been left behind. So what I wanted to say is that the super cyclone 1999, they shook our confidence and our conscience, and from there on we started. And you remember that in 2019 we had a cyclone Fani, and we remember cyclone Fani because there was something like zero casualty. There was hardly any death, which was caused by the cyclone. And why it all happened? So I'm sure that I will be running through, the time permitting. We'll talk about the kind of the measures that has been taken by government over a period of 20 years, and you would be happy that the leader of this Honorable Chief Minister gave one word, one sentences to the administration that every life is precious. Imagine, I remember 20 years back, maybe 15 years back, when I was working in UNDP, I had visited some of those cyclone shelters where the people were kept because of a huge flood in the year 2003 in Puri district, and I found that the flood shelters, multi-purpose cyclone shelters were empty, whereas the people from the lower caste, they were in the houses and their houses were getting inundated. The key of the cyclone shelter was the rich man of the village, and he was not allowing the poor people to enter. Why was it so? Because the person in charge never thought the every life is precious. But here there is a chief minister who said that every life is precious. So really endeavored tremendously, and I tell you that about 25,000 tourists from Puri town was evacuated, because we knew that the cyclone would really damage Puri town severely. There will be total disruption, and the outsiders who have come from different parts of the country or other parts of the world, they would really be a tremendous problem because we have no communication, and there will be really hue and cry. So we on priority evacuated 25,000 number of tourists from Puri town. At the mid of the night, we were searching. We were thinking, did we leave someone who could be facing the cyclone and finally get face the harm because of the cyclone? We came to it was informed to us that there are prawn gheris in the coastal areas in Jagatsinghpur and Kendrapada. There, basically, the migrant workers, they are engaged by those landlords or the prawn farmers. They are kept in apartments because the prawn farms are very costly. They have costly producers, and that time the producers were almost from at the point of being harvested. So they were all watching. So we engaged the administration for such people, and to our surprise and awe, we found that about 20 to 20,000 such people were exposed to the coast, and in case the cyclone hit that area, those people would have died. So we took swift action, and the mid of the night we evacuated them as our last group of people to be evacuated. What I wanted to say is that the issue and challenges are not that once you have addressed it, it is dynamic, and once the leader says that every life counts, and I must protect and preserve every life. I think whole of your thought process of managing a super cyclone changes. Now comes to the next step. Now what Odisha has done is that they have gone stage where we have achieved zero casualty. Like means, even if there will be a cyclone tomorrow, nobody will die, because the state is really resilient as far as the cyclone management is concerned. But so what is our next goal? So when we talk about issue and challenges, I would say that the next goal for us is from zero casualty to zero disruptions and damages. So what does it mean? That means the cycle, it will blow over the state and it will have no damages. So how is it possible? It is not possible theoretically right now, because if you have to really achieve that, you need a lot of investment in that. You need resilient housing so that the cyclone wouldn't be able to damage your houses. and you should have a robust electricity infrastructure so that in the event of such a huge cyclone, the electricity would remain intact, underground cabling or other stronger towers to protect the system. They will be very resilient. Telephone should be no disruption. Even in the worst of the cyclone, even in the worst, they would withstand the wind speed. Similarly, in the worst of the cyclone, withstand the wind speed that in the height of cyclone, the cyclone in the ground. And yes, in the roads about 1 year. So it is very detailed from more than just there are challenges first, like what kind of agriculture, what kind of varieties that the people should be cultivating, so that the damages to the agriculture is minimum. And similarly, the great damages that take place in the event of a cyclone is about the livestock. The several, the poultry farm, they get damaged. The cows, the bullocks, the entire livestock of the population, they get affected. So what do you do so that these assets of these marginalized communities are not lost and you protect them? So what I meant to say is that, as we have achieved zero casualty, but the new goals start coming up, and we have to do certain things so that we reach a higher level of achievement. Then another thing that the governments in different parts of the country should be doing is the community should be doing it's not done exceedingly well. So starting from 1999, British are leading the role to prepare the community for the disaster. When it take place. So maybe before the disaster strikes, the government can play its role. It can predict the path of the cycle. It can evacuate the people, put them in the center, take care of their food and other needs. But when the cycle can the path, so people have connection with the but connection with the government. It is lost. Even if you try your best, I'm sure the communities are going to face the disaster or its the consequences on its own. So you have to prepare the community. So you prepare the examples elsewhere in the world that government does its job to prepare the community. Australia, New South Wales, you have a separate organization where you have the volunteers they are equipped to handle the situation of a bushfire. Like there are in decentralized manner, whenever there is a bushfire or there is a chemical hazard or there is some other incident, the communities they handle the situation. So many of the disaster as of now that we face on a day-to-day basis, they are not attended. Like for example, if there is a road accident. So let's say there is a road accident in Gajapati. So by the time we send our police people or order people, suppose you have community volunteers in the neighborhood and who are equipped to handle such a situation, handle such a fast manner. So it is very important that we prepare our community, the volunteers. In fact, communities, as Professor, your NSA, your home guards, and your civil defense, there is a lot of people who are available, and it is necessary and services for there is a situation. We there are 1,000 cyclone center, and each of the cyclone center is managed by the committee, and the committee is assisted by 50 volunteers. There are these volunteers, they take care of the evacuation, they take care of the shelter management, they take care of the food, they take care of the fast aid and all that. So when the government is not able to reach out to the community, let's say there are 1,000 cyclone shelter, and to each cyclone shelter there are 50 volunteers. So at the press of a button, we can activate a network of 50,000 volunteers who will take care of the affected population. So imagine the force of the volunteers. So the network of volunteers, they need to be that to be strengthened. They need to be, their capacity need to be built, and they can take care of issues. Then there are many challenges. Like for example, there are a lot of painful emotion. Like whenever there is a loss of limb or loss of life, or there are body damages. So there is a lot of painful emotion that the people have to face. So the government is not having no to face. So government is not in the and people like we see today in COVID situation, there are so many people have lost family members. But, and I know when some say family member, what kind of family. So it is lost their family members. Somebody loses their somebody family. So now the government is able to make a voluntary network of volunteers so that these people are taken care of. Similarly, there are marginalized sections, like for example, the old elderly people, the pregnant women, and there are, for example, the children. Children, if the kind of psychological stress that the children really has to undergo, when it really has to undergo disaster, it is unimaginable. Like if you remember having faced the cyclone, having a childhood days, imagine remains very vivid in the memory, what kind of pain that you must have undergone. So children are very much vulnerable. So making arrangements, the psychological affected population is very important. So similarly, the disaster management organization that we have in the state, it is just not necessary. That is not important that you only take care of the cyclone and the flood, and but there are many disasters that really happen on a day-to-day basis, and the number of casualties are quite significant if you take them in total. For example, we have lightning. So the number of people who die because of lightning, it could be 100 per year in a state like Odisha. Similarly, people must be died to 400 people because of the drowning that takes place every day. Similarly, snake bites during the harvest, the agriculture season, when there is rainfall, a lot of people die because of the snake bites. And road accident is very normal. Similarly, you often come to know about chemical hazard. Often more industries coming up, or the situation where people are going for commercial sites and sites of chemical hazards. Then heat waves, because of the climate change, heat wave is becoming a phenomenon to stay with us. So how do you face heat waves? Then fire incidents, that happens quite regularly. Then another big disaster that we have to face is about drought. Similarly, though Odisha is not really prone to seismic activity, but then the tsunami, we have a vast coastline of 480 kilometers, which is exposed to the disaster like tsunami. So what I wanted to say is that it's just not flood or cyclone we need to be prepared for, but all kinds of disasters that happen on a day-to-day basis, the disaster management organization have to prepare themselves to face and address. And there are many areas which also need improvement. For example, warning, if it is given early, I think it saves more life. So now maybe that whenever there is a cyclone coming, we get the warning 2 days of lead time, clear lead time of 2 days, like is what is the cyclone path, where it is like to have the landfall, that is available where it is. Suppose we can really have a scientific advancement and have those warning at least 6 days in advance, I'm sure it could be done to save our life and property. Similarly, the risk communication, like it is just not enough to know that cyclone would be hitting an area and it will have a landfall at a particular site. It is important to know what will be the impact of the cyclone, what is the path it will travel, whether the cyclone would bring some secondary impacts like the tidal surges or inundation or flood. So that is very important. Similarly, it is also important to know whether there could be some tertiary impacts. For example, after the cyclone, there could be flood, and the flood could lead to inundation. Then it could be leading to non-availability of the drinking water, and there could be health issues and the cholera outbreak. So these are called tertiary kind of phenomena. So it is important to know what is the primary impact, what is the secondary impact, what is the tertiary impact. Maybe today we are working on situation of primary impact. So we have to work on the secondary impact, the tertiary impact, and we have to impact those risks to people. There are different kinds of people who are located either on the path of the cyclone, and these people are vulnerable to different degrees. For example, if has a different degree of vulnerability than a young person. So it is very necessary that the elderly population understands the risk differently than a person, let's say a young child or a young man. So it is very risk communication take place to every individual for the risk profile. So similarly, the search, the evacuation, the fast aid, they also have to improve. For example, these days, like a city like Mumbai, the house collapse is the phenomena that we see very, very. And as the cities, the buildings or the habitations, become more and more older, so you will have this phenomena. So whether when the building collapses, do your fire services or ODRAF have the capacity to lift the building and save the people? Similarly, whenever there is an earthquake, does your rescue agency have that capability to take out the people from the household? So what I mean to say is that the search, rescue, the evacuation, they also have to prepare themselves. And relief, the people these days, they want relief immediately. Like for example, I remember during funny time, the next day after cyclone was over and the roads were opened within for 24 hours. It was a monumental work that within 24 hours we could open the roads to the block headquarters. As the roads were made open, so people also came to the road and they wanted relief. So even if people had some to fend for themselves, people wanted government relief. So people want immediate relief. So how soon can you provide the relief? How soon can you provide the electricity? How soon can you provide the transfer of cash? Like bank network has collapsed. So how do you provide them cash? Do you have sufficient the vehicle on wheels which could go and dispense the cash so that when you don't have internet connectivity in the banks or the ATMs in the rural areas, how do people get their how do people draw money from their own account? So there are different challenges that keep on happening, and the great challenges to save the livestock population, that also remains. So what I wanted to say is that the issues and challenges have been addressed quite well in Odisha and in also many other states. All the states are competing to adopt the best practices. They are also innovating. They are using the latest technologies, including the IT technologies, not only to do a lot of analysis at the level, but also communicate the various individuals who are likely to be affected. But so these, the challenges are dynamic, and the government has provided the proper framework. There is a disaster management. There is an independent department. Like I had the Department of Revenue and Disaster Management. We have a separate agency, Odisha Relief Commissioner. Then we have a Odisha State Disaster Management Authority. So all the states almost have the uniform structure, and they handle the disaster in a dynamic way. So I have a presentation, but I don't think I have time. So thank you very much for giving me time to speak about the issues and challenges. If there are some queries, I can take those queries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vishnu sir. Thanks for such an enlightening address to our participants. And rightly, you told that preparing for disaster has to go beyond the mandated ideas or the tasks. Responsive governance, coordination between civic agencies, public awareness, and fair social policy are equally important. And we should be accountable of the impact of disaster that are having on the economic development of the states, especially in those states which are relatively backward and reliant on the crops and pastoral economies. And due to the lack of economic diversification and development, the devastation of natural resources in these states, and Odisha is also such an example, so had a compounded effect on indirect variables such as livelihoods and opportunities. And this further pushes the population into the vicious cycle of economic vulnerability through food insecurity, nutritional insecurity, etc., which eventually also hinders the economic growth of the country. Hence, as natural calamities have different impacts, for states that are relatively poor, disaster management policies should try to minimize the long-term effects calamities have on the states as an inclusive developmental process. And rightly you told, sir, that issues and challenges will always be there. It's an evolving process. Whatever stage of disaster management or disaster risk management we will be, there will be always issues and challenges, and those gaps we have to fulfill. And thank you very much again, sir. And now I would like to invite our next distinguished speaker, Professor Santosh Kumar. Sir, question will be taken at the end of the session, if you kindly allow me, because we are running out of time, and our second speaker is also on the platform. So, Professor Santosh Kumar, let me introduce a very brief introduction about Professor Santosh Kumar. Professor Santosh Kumar is head of Governance Inclusive DRR, and he is also the head of Child-Centric Disaster Risk Reduction Center. And sir is another stalwart in the field of disaster risk management. He has over 25 years of experience, 2.5 decades of experience at the various level, from the grassroots till the apex level, serving in the National Institute of Disaster Management. And also he has been a key stakeholder in developing the Disaster Management Act of this country and the policy framework. And sir, after listening the very insightful address from Vishnu Sethi, we would like to listen you that where you find that a particular state, because since we all know now that disaster management is a state subject, and just not policies and plans at the central government level or the governance level makes the country disaster resilient. Actually, states, the particular states should be having the willpower for implementing them. And we all know that on the papers, the plans and policies, everything is very perfect and accurate. But still, at the district level, at the very grassroots level, we are facing a lot of gaps actually that need to be filled up. And there are a lot of other challenges also, sir. So we would like to listen. I'm not taking a lot of time. So Professor Santosh, you are most welcome. All our participants are waiting to hear your comments.
Thank you, Dr. Aka. The distinguished panelist, Mr. Vishnu Sethi ji, Professor Satpathy ji, and all the team members of Child-Centric DRR, Dr. Aka and others, and all the distinguished participants who are actually still attending. As Mr. Sethi has also mentioned, that large number of delegates are there. This itself is a big thing to be noted. And I'm glad that I have a personal interaction with him and at various occasions, and especially during the cyclone Fani. My old association when we with Orissa, in terms of which we say with the super cyclone 1999. And that time I was working as a disaster management specialist with the World Bank. And I was to see the project of long-term recovery of 1999 super cyclone. And that time the people had a very bad time. And this is the devastation has been already been explained by Mr. Sethi. And the kind of challenges from there, that how uh, government of Orissa faced and the people of Orissa faced, and evolved the whole subject in the right perspective of disaster risk management. And we always keep congratulating government of Orissa at various platforms and various occasions, and to inform the participants that Orissa's initiative has also echoed at the global level and considered as a kind of one of the best practices of the world, when the mortality got reduced substantially. And what Mr. Sethi was mentioning about the management of cyclone, which has really improved tremendously, not only in early warning, dissemination and all, but shelter and all. So there is a history in Orissa of good management, and from large number of casualty to the no number of casualty. And the new challenges which are emerging as a kind of a snake bites, what he has said, this heat wave, then we talk about cold wave, then thunderstorm, and so on and so forth. So basically, I would give 2-3 points, not much at this occasion. As I said, that I have a long experience when this Orissa State Disaster Management Authority was about to set up, because we wanted to set up some of the institutions where they can maneuver the whole long-term recovery program. And during that time, that OSDMA was established, and Mr. Siddhartha, Forest Secretary, now probably he was there from there as a joint. And Siddhanta, other than Siddhartha's, one I will recall, and I will convey my gratitude to him, the way both the officers maneuvered during that time, and that legacy continued. Disaster, we say that as a kind of offshoots of bad development. If we know the exposure, as Mr. Sethi was telling, that our coastal areas. So India too has a kind of a 7,600 kilometer overall. Not only in Orissa, but 7,600 kilometers is exposed to, and the people living along the coasts are exposed to cyclone, tsunami, and storm surge. And so their infrastructure. So we are building roads, we are building housing, we are building electric poles, we're providing all services, health facilities, education facilities. And the idea of that, how these departments are, or the people who are working with these departments are sensitive enough to the exposure. So, as Mr. Sethi said, from reducing this impact from mankind to now the infrastructure. So, how to reduce those risks when we are not sensitive enough to those risks? And development investment is actually not taking care of those challenges into a practice of development, or while designing the projects. So what I see as a kind of, everybody says that how to do, and we are also concerned. And similarly, the university Professor Satpathy was also mentioning, make people aware. So this, how it will go to the individual level, community level, government sectoral level. This is the biggest challenge. At times, what we say, this is not the people's choice, but when it becomes inevitable, we start working. So the disaster is also taking us in the same direction. What we are saying, that if we do not कहते हैं जब टाइम से पहले नहीं तैयार होते हैं तो when we have to face the consequences. So, but like say I will give you the example of COVID-19 itself. The 1.5 lakh people have died so far in India already. This is the biggest casualty happened since what we can say that what we had in the Royal Bengal famine, what Mr. Pati was Sethi was mentioning. So what we say that 1.5 lakh, and there was a report already given by the World Bank in terms of giving warning to the global community that that pandemic is looming large. So we should prepare. We should strengthen our public health system. So what we say that unless and until it hits us, we don't get prepared. Orissa got prepared in after this 1999, where the biggest casualty happened, crossed more than 13,000, and the damage which he has said, and implications of children, not only the number of deaths alone, but the people who have survived and the survival into a difficult, some have become widows, they have different problems and challenges. Those who have become orphans, they have to become the challenge. Those who have become widower, so the total family get disgruntled and so that plight of disaster, even today you can say, even after 2000, this 1999 cyclone, they are facing the consequences even now. Even now. So funny, I had gone myself again after long years and during other disasters, and we saw that more than we documented, and we found that the local people, the community, and are so much overwhelmed with this, and they were participating with the government. We counted this, more than 45,000 people worked all together in management of FADI along with the government officials. So what I'm saying is, we put our all energy, time, money, resources, and in the post-disaster scenario. The time has come to, it's already lessons have been learned globally, locally, all over, that we need to invest much more in the prevention. Since it is invisible, we do not see much of a relevance, uh, and response is visible, so we all get glued to it. So time has come that how we are going to stop this practice and focus more on prevention and mitigation. So the best stories to be picked up from, let's say, Orissa, what happened, how that Orissa uh, broke this stereotype in the disaster management and made investment in prevention and mitigation, which is helping now. So how to minimize the similar impact on the infrastructure. So the development dividends are keep flowing. People are keep getting benefit out of that. So this is one major important point which I wanted to highlight. The second important point, I will have 3 points. So the second important point which I would mention here is this: people should be kept in the center in our whole planning system. That how people, misery of people, how differential impact disaster creates on men, women, children, elderly people, people who are differently abled. That has to be kept in mind while planning, because even if COVID-19, you say that if one family gets affected, the whole family gets affected by that. And the stigma and the trauma which they are facing is unbelievable. Scale and the size, everything. So similar thing happens, and when somebody gets trapped in this cyclone or tsunami or in the flood situation or the earthquake situation, how we are going to actually change that? What is the role of this people, putting people in the center of these educational institutions? Like suppose in Orissa or maybe West Bengal, or we can say that in Bihar or Assam, which are facing disasters on a regular basis. What are these institutions' responsibility should be? Professor Satpathy has mentioned we have to assume new role and we have to take the new responsibilities. So I'm very much happy with the kind of connotations have been brought in, that how these two could be very, very useful in terms of taking responsibility rather criticizing all the time. So how proactively we get engaged these institutions? Like suppose in every state I find 30 to 40 universities and institutions even together. And if they know, if that Mr. Sethi highlighted, say Orissa example. So similarly, Bihar as an example, say Assam as an example, Maharashtra as an example, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Jammu Kashmir, all are as an example. What these institutions can play a very crucial role in understanding the local risks, help the government, help the different organizations who are engaged into by your own research. You have a student of army. We are just putting up the curriculum, what Professor Satpathy also said. Probably that is not the time now. We need to inform and educate our people differently. So they have to come out from the comfort zone and take this out and take important challenges, that how they are going to resolve the problem of the state if they are closely, the state is confronting with different disasters at different point of time. Educational institution role is just not to keep in the laboratory and PhD thesis in the library of the institute, but actually it should lead to some problem solving. So PhD system should also change in terms of not just go for the literature review and do the needful, but also take this, that is a kind of action research oriented PhD should be brought in. Give some suggestive note from the university to the different agencies. Somebody can work on anthropology of disasters, somebody can document, as a history department can actually work for the historical profile of the state and disasters, what happened in Fani, what happened in Assam, what happened in Bihar. So those kind of a thing, the discourse, what happened and how it was, what could be the new things, could be those who are working in sociology and psychology, they can contribute the social and psychosocial issues. So what I'm saying is urging to the universities, to the vice chancellor and the principal of the college, and to the university grant commission, that how we are going to change the MPhil, PhD, and master's program, because in 21st century, things of 18th century will not work. Just the knowledge-based information probably we need to change, making our students as a problem solver, so that when they pass out from the college and university, they are relevant to different organizations in solving social problems, social issues. They should not be confined just to reading the theoretical, having the theoretical knowledge of society, what Max Weber has said, or what the management is. How actually this can be taken to the field, and those kind of a pragmatic information be given to so there is a new role. The idea is to reimagine, reimagining the curriculum, reimagining the post graduations and PhDs, and redefining the entire discourse. I'm very much agree with Professor Satpathy what he said, uh, that extra co-curricular activities and all. So what I'm saying is that what Mr. Sethi said, he outlined the challenges of the disasters, and the educational institution role is to how to actually become the problem solver of those problems which the highest level of the government is saying about, in terms of that what is required for the states now. So there the partnership, that last point was partnership with NIDM, with the child-centric DRR, and many federal institutions can come together and bring that change. So the time we should commit ourselves for bringing the change. Let us have a target for 5 years and say that we have identified, even though the smaller target, and we are committed to that, that yes, we will monitor that change is happening, so that the state is also feel happy. Every state, that credential of these educational institutions are much more in solving the problems of climate change, in solving the problems of sustainable development goals, in solving the problems of disaster risk management, and so on and so forth. So, what I would just urge, we are happy and glad for this association, and I wish to take this forward on behalf of NIDM. I extend my gratitude to Government of Orissa, OSDMA, and also that Revenue Department, and especially Mr. Sethi, who has been a prolific writer also. He keeps writing on various issues. And of course, Professor Satpathy for bringing this partnership as a kind of, and we can say that the beginning of the change. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for this wonderful insights of yours. And rightly, you also reflected that these issues and challenges in entire DRR mechanism is an evolving issue, and that we have to keep addressing time to time, because it's not static, never static. And like floods in Assam and Bihar, we see every year. And if I just put a data of Central Water Commission for the year 1953 to 2016, only for the state of Assam, that is 26 lakh human lives are affected every year due to floods. And the data takes the total damage of these floods of about 128 crore per annum. This is a huge amount. There's a huge setback. But how to address that? The floods are still a recurring phenomena in many of the states of India. And after revisiting 15 years of disaster risk management mechanism, and when we are talking about paradigm shift, still somewhere something is lacking, and we have to fill that gap by addressing these issues and challenges on a very regular intervals and basis. Similarly, the gender budgeting also, that is one thing. The inclusion of the gender compatible disaster response mechanism or disaster management mechanism, that is equally important. These are still issues. A lot of issues still remains, and that is why revisiting again and again the issues and challenges are very important. And rightly you told, sir, that curriculum there, we have a few questions, and that is, I think you have already answered that, but even then I would like to read that question, that why not to include disaster management subjects at school and colleges and university levels to have have aware and well-informed citizens? That is a question by Nagarajan. I hope, Nagarajan, you must have received your answer in the last minutes of the Professor Santosh Kumar's talk, and that was reflected by Professor Satpathy as well. Sir, we are having a few more questions. If you would like to take that, there are so many questions, but I'll just go through a few relevant questions. One question is, what strategies have been implemented so far by NIDM and other stakeholders to deal with CBRNE, weapon of mass destruction? And in post-COVID, what are the steps to be taken by central and all state governments to tackle massive disasters like cyber attack into the critical infrastructure and other installations? So, Professor Santosh, if you listen the question, can you take that, please?
Two points which I would like to add here. One is that you said CBRN and also cyber attack. The CBRN initiative, of course, NIDM had made the initial phase of its starting phase of NIDM, put up a kind of a guidelines for CBRN. But gradually, this responsibility has been given to the Ministry of Defense, and Ministry of Defense is working as a focal agency. There is an institute in NMAS. They are working in Delhi, and they are working day and night on this CBRN preparedness. So a lot of synergy which we have, and we interact also. But I would urge that educational institutions, those who are interested, they can get back to us also, we can go through us also, or you can go directly to them also, if you are willing to take this forward. So CBRN is a very highly specialized things. So that was the thinking of the government. So it has gone there. Coming to the cyber crime is not actually included as disaster in our purview. Still, it is the part of the security and the police. So cyber security we have not gone into, but the way digitization is going on, the day data is getting created, the things are moving. So CBRN recently got inducted in our thing also in NIDM. So maybe the subject has to be matured, and we need to. We have also advertised some positions also in this area to start cyber crime and bring all partners together. So still to have much more maturity, but we have started this networking with the concerned institutions. But we have also this Association of Indian Universities very recently formed, which I am heading. So what I would suggest that in the Indian University network, we can bring this subject also, where that Department of Physics and all, or those other connected department can actually contribute in taking this as a computer science department, engineering department, or whosoever is there in the concerned department. They can also be part of this initiative of NIDM. There are many, but this cyber crime, since you have asked, this could be also part of the source. So I would request and welcome if any such kind of a collaborative initiatives are there.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope that the participant or esteemed participant must have received an adequate and to the point answer. There are two more questions, sir, and I'll ask both the questions to you in one go, and you can answer that. One participant, Nagarajan, is asking that why not to include first aid, swimming, and other life-saving methods in additional subjects to learn in our academic curriculum. Why we have to learn only dried subjects like typical subjects in our studies? And the other question is that is rapidly and very huge increasing population in India. If we are looking from the disaster risk management perspective, whether that's a wealth or it's a disaster in itself.
Come again about the second question, wealth and?
Very rapidly increasing population of India from the perspective of disaster risk management is a wealth or it's a disaster in itself?
I will not go into the Malthusian theory of this population explosion. But today we see that population against the resources and the population against the density, that what is the density of population in India, and think that what is the potential of India in managing such population. So of course this is a kind of a problem, but currently if you can convert any challenge into opportunity, that is the biggest thing. Today India is driving this dividend of population in terms of development also. So many people who are working on demography, they probably would answer this question better. But as a disaster management person, we can say that this is a challenge in terms of that high density area. We have a high risk of population. So that is, if it is scattered, our risk is much less than the dense population. So this is one dimension I can open. But the second question is that yes, I would say that educationists are here and attending this particular webinar. And earlier, NCC and NSS was very strong in the school and college curriculum, where what Professor Satpathy was also mentioning about extra co-curricular. There, we can have a much more life-saving training and all to the students. And we need to always look at the contemporary requirement of the country. because we hardly have syllabus revision process on a regular basis. So maybe still people must be listening to those what kind of economic theory they have been or sociological theory they have been or physics and chemistry they were working. But today we are talking about big data. We are talking about Google like company. Today we are talking about Facebook, how every time the data is generated, data is stored. So our students should be trained in those kind of curriculum. So that's what I gave the reference. What is the contemporary challenges, and whether our educational make comparison, whether your curriculum is helping in problem solving the contemporary issues, and if not, change it. Because if you will not go and will remain in the same uh, jacket, then you are obsolete. So we need to have a relevance of these institutions, and certainly life saving is much more important, and that should be rather made compulsory for every student to go through as a kind of a life saving. Everyone requires that kind of, even at the household environment when such kind of a emergency happens. So how they can tackle the emergency till the medical aid is reached to them. So it has a relevance, and I would also recommend it.
That's a wonderful answer, sir. And I hope that all the participants must have seen what our eminent speakers, both the eminent speakers, Vishnu Pada Sethi, the principal secretary, and Professor Santosh Kumar, the senior professor. The crux of the talk is that uh, disaster management issues and challenges, when specifically we are talking, it's an evolving issue, and that is what at the last answer of the professor was very much evident, that it's also evolving issue. We have to go contemporary, we have to find out contemporarily what we are learning within our curriculum or the school environment or the college environment, whether that is problem solving or not. Today what may be the problem solving, maybe after 5 years that needs a different approach. So we have gone almost 20 minutes beyond our mandated time, and understanding that our eminent speakers are also having a lot of other works, and our very esteemed participants will also be having other important things to do. So let me conclude this session here, and again formally many thanks to our Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal, Executive Director of NIDM, and Professor Santosh Kumar, Sri Vishnu Pada Sethi, sir, Principal Secretary, sir, and also to the KISS Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences University, Dean University, Professor Hare Krishna Satpathy, sir, Dr. T.K. Rautri, sir, and Dr. Kripa Sindhu Nayak. Thank you very much for your entire team for arranging this wonderful webinar talk. And we'll be looking in future also with collaboration with you, what Professor Santosh also told, that NIDM is into the networking with the universities, and you are most welcome to get to that, join that. And along with that, all the participants will be meeting again very soon with another interesting and insightful topic where we will be discussing the things. And have a good evening and good night.